All right, folks, let's talk to Pennsylvania Senator Pat Toomey, great friend. He's a ranking member on the Senate Banking Committee. So, Mr. Senator Pat Toomey, I just love this line in your Wall Street Journal editorial. The world has to make a choice. Do business with the U.S. or do business with Russia, but you can't do both. I just think that's fabulous, Pat. And you're talking about secondary sanctions, which we have discussed on this show. Tell us some more. And do you think Biden and the rest of them will do it in the NATO meetings in Brussels?
Well, I sure hope that we move in this direction, Larry. It's overdue. I mean, my goodness, the Ukrainian people have put up the most heroic fight for their freedom, for their sovereignty. You know, you see these heartbreaking images of families where women and children are leaving the country and the men turn back to fight. It's amazing. And to think that we're not doing everything we can to help these folks just to defend themselves. They're not asking us to risk our lives, to send our young men and women to the front lines. They're asking for hardware. We should be sending them everything we possibly can. They want MiGs, send them the MiGs. I mean, this is not a close call for me. We could be doing more. We should be doing more. And the point of the secondary sanctions, Larry, this is about cutting off the funding for Putin's war machine. That's what it is. The Western world generally, not so much the United States, but the Western world is buying, we think, $5 to $7 billion a week worth of Putin's oil and gas. Well, you know, it's expensive to wage a war. Why are we helping him? It's really as simple as that. So I think let's end that. And one simple way to do this, and when I don't mean to make light of this, there's no question it would be a considerable inconvenience to Europeans who have, quite foolishly in my judgment, gotten themselves overly dependent on Russian energy sources, but they can transition. And we need to begin that now because we've got to shut off this source of revenue for Putin.
I mean, it's interesting. On so many levels, this is interesting, and it's a very good point, forceful point. The loopholes here are just too wide. You're right. You know, you multiply it out, Pat, that's roughly $350 billion. That equals...
But Larry, I'm sorry to interrupt, but it's not even a loophole. They were designed not to affect Russian energy exports. It's by design.
Right.
This is crazy.
No, got it. You're absolutely right. So let's end that design. Let's stop funding his war machine. Secondary sanctions means, you know, for viewers and so forth, that means banks, American banks can't do business with the Russian oil companies, and any banks who do business with American banks can't do business with these financing the Russian oil company sales.
Right, yeah. Any bank anywhere in the world, if you transfer money, say, you do business with the Russian banks that are on the sanctioned list, and I would suggest put virtually all the Russian banks on the list. Any bank doing business with them could no longer engage in U.S. dollar transactions. They would not be able to settle payments, receive or make payments in U.S. dollars. And that's why they'd have to face this choice. Do we want to do business with this rinky-dink economy that is dependent on one or two commodities, or do we want to do business with the United States of America? That is not a close call for most of the world's financial institutions, and that's why, with that one measure, these secondary sanctions, we really just freeze out the Russian economy.
Yes, sir. You know, I love what you said. You know, you have to choose between doing business with us and doing business with them. That's the near cousin, Senator Toomey, to what Reagan said many, many, many years ago. We win, they lose. You know, and Biden has to put it. I think, Senator, Biden has to make that clear. He never really has.
Correct. You know, absolutely right. And okay, look, on day one, I don't think many people thought for a minute that the Ukrainians would be able to put up the fight they have. But my goodness, have they earned it? They can win this. It is actually possible that the Ukrainians could win this. And it's essential for the security of the world that Putin lose this war and all of the authoritarians and dictators and would-be aggressors around the world see just how badly this ended up.
Yes, sir. Yes, sir. Yes, sir. Pat, two other quick things, please. One is Holman Jenkins's idea of setting up an escrow account. If the Europeans buy the Europeans, for better or worse, are actually importing more Russian oil and gas right now than they had before the war started. So if they buy it, how about setting up an escrow account so Russia's not going to get the cash?
I love it. The money would be there and it would be available, because it would also make the point that our quarrel here is not with the Russian people. It's not with a particular Russian commodity. It's with the man who is conducting this outrageous war. And so those funds would be available when the Russian forces evacuate Ukraine and do a number of other things that would qualify them for that. And you point out quite rightly, because you might ask, well, why would Putin agree to continue sending oil and gas if he's not actually getting the money for it? And the answer is the enormous cost and damage done to his infrastructure if he doesn't.
That's right.
You can't just shut this off like a faucet. So I think that's a great idea.
And last one, Senator Toomey, I'm reading in the paper, Republicans and Democrats in the Senate and the House want to stop Russian gold sales and want to slap on secondary sanctions for Russian gold sales. It's about $130 billion worth of their total foreign exchange reserves. Sounds like a good idea to me.
Yeah, it does. I've not seen the specific proposals. I think before that, we're likely to withdraw permanent normal trade relations with Russia, which is a sensible thing to do under the circumstances.
Yes.
And I certainly would look at the restriction on gold sales as well.
Senator Pat Toomey, thank you, sir. Thank you for your good words, and we hope to see you soon.
Thanks for having me, Larry.